What's this dirty pregnant female doing at my wedding ceremony? There may be no way she changed into invited, Nia stated with rage. Earlier than the crowd ought to tell what changed into happening, she threw hands at the bad girl, angrily punching and pushing her, throwing distinctive punches at her suddenly. The groom, the billionaire husband-to-be, he was frozen, speechless. However, the beating changed into not the maximum shocking component due to the fact the terrible, closely pregnant lady raised her head up with all of the bruisings and pains and stated, "Go on, beat me all you need." She stated with indignant tears in her eyes, "However, today I'm able to reveal all your secrets. I'm able to screen the entirety. This wedding ends now." The gang went silent. Each tune stopped. That is the story of a negative woman whose story changed the day. She met a kind-hearted billionaire, but what regarded like a blessing soon became a nightmare, whilst his gold-digging female friend threatens her existence. All of it started worn-tired one Monday morning. Kofi, the younger billionaire CEO, was on his way to the most important assembly of his whole life. One signature these days would relax billions in investments, locking down houses and agencies that had taken him years to construct. Everything, his wealth, his recognition, his empire was tied to that meeting. The morning solar changed into sharp. However, Kofi's mind were sharper. He drove rapid, his black vehicle reducing via the streets like a knife. Just before the highway, he stopped in brief to acquire a transport, a brown envelope of personal files that could determine the destiny of his business enterprise. He slid the papers cautiously beneath his healthy jacket for protection and stepped again in the direction of his car. Then, a thunderous honk. Kofi iced up. A massive trailer roared down the slender avenue, water speeding under its tires. There has been no area to sidestep. In a single terrifying second, the trailer sped beyond, splashing a tidal wave of muddy water worn out tired him. His perfectly pressed fit ruined. His white shirt soaked, dripping grime. The important files secure underneath his jacket. However, his look a disaster. Kofi's jaw tightened, his chest burned with panic. If he showed up like this, no person could take him severely. They would hand the deal to his rival without hesitation. Annoyed, he appeared around, desperate for an answer. It truly is while he saw it. A small weathered kiosk at the nook of the street, timber walls, a rusted roof, paint peeling from years of conflict, and inside stood a young girl. Her call was Amaka. She looked up, amazed to see a man like him at her stall. She had been struggling for weeks, barely getting customers. In the back of her kind smile changed into her personal struggling. An arm that had never fully healed from sickness, leaving her in regular ache. Yet whilst she saw Kofi's misery, her first words have been, "Do not worry, sir. I allow you to." Her voice was gentle, regular. Kofi blinked, stuck off shield. He had by no means been spoken to with such simple kindness. That Monday morning, blanketed in dust on the roadside, was the instant their worlds collided. And neither of them knew this small act of kindness might resolve secrets that would ruin lives and stop a marriage earlier than it ever started, worn tired. Kofi kept going lower back to Amaka's kiosk. In the beginning, it became only for brief fixes. She wiped clean his suits, pressed his shirts, continually smiling with a quiet energy. However, quickly he observed himself drawn to her kindness. From time to time, she might come to his mansion herself, wearing well-pressed suits in a small nylon bag. Kofi changed into use to boardrooms and billion-dollar offers, but by hook or by crook, her presence in his home felt hotter than any wealth he had ever recognized. One nighttime, whilst turning in his clothes, Amaka finally opened up. Her mom was gravely sick. Medical bills have been piling up. She hadn't advised him before due to delight. Kofi, moved by means of her honesty, took it upon himself to pay for her mother's treatments. That easy act tightened their bond, and soon they have been inseparable. Overdue nights at the hospital changed into stolen conversations in his car. One night, as rain pattered towards the windshield, Kofi leaned nearer. "I want to know your story, Amaka. The whole thing. Who you truly tired are." She diminished her gaze, her lips trembling. "I will let you know quickly." Then she kissed him. The kiss deepened, and that night time they made love in his vehicle, worlds colliding in a way neither of them deliberate. Kofi notioned he had observed a pure-hearted woman who cared for him beyond his wealth, but he failed to know she carried secrets and techniques that would burn the entirety he owned to the floor. Amaka idea she had found a person who would finally cope with her and her demise mom. But she didn't know this blessing could twist into the darkest curse of her lifestyles. They each concept love had finally smiled on them, but they had no concept. Someone was looking, someone who might not permit this like to survive. Nia had constantly been in Kofi's existence, at the least on paper. Whilst Kofi become just a boy, each families had sealed a deal. His father and Nia's father have been near pals, commercial enterprise companions and allies. To ease the future, they determined that someday their children might marry. But what Kofi's father in no way knew became that Nia's father had already misplaced his empire years in the past. His corporation was long gone, his debts empty. All he had left turned into impact and pride. Aligning with Kofi's wealthy-owned family changed into now not abworn-tired friendship anymore. It changed into survival. In Kofi's father's mind, the marriage could be a powerful union of robust households. In fact, Nia's own family wished Kofi greater than Kofi would ever want them. That night, in the grand family mansion, voices rose. Kofi's father slammed the table. His mother, stylish but stern, folded her hands. "You should marry Nia," his father barked. "It's the first-rate bet we've proper now. This partnership has held us strong for decades. Do not ruin it with infantile feelings." Kofi clenched his fists. His voice became calm but company. "Father, I already have a female I care abhorrent tired. I've made my choice." His mother shook her head, dismissive. "Kofi, you don't apprehend. This is not worn out your choice. It's abhorrent tired our legacy, our bloodline, our wealth. Marrying Nia maintains the whole thing in the circle of relatives." He regarded among them his parents, who had given him the whole thing, however freedom. His jaw tightened. "And what worn out love, what worn out approximately what I need." They exchanged glances, bloodless, unmoved. His father leaned ahead. "Love does not maintain wealth, partnerships do." For the first time in years, Kofi felt the weight of his golden cage. They did not care a worn tired his heart. They best cared worn out approximately business. And upstairs, some distance far from that argument, Amaka had no concept that forces bigger than her love story had been already being organized in opposition to her. The next morning, Kofi observed Amaka in tears. She changed into shaking, her face buried in her palms. "They destroyed it," she sobbed. "Destroyed what?" Kofi asked, panic rising. "My kiosk," she cried. "The simplest component I had. The authorities came with vehicles and tore the entirety down. No warning, no mercy. Everything is long past." Kofi's chest tightened. He may want to see the melancholy in her eyes, the hopelessness of losing the handiest lifeline she had built along with her fingers. He reached for her hand firmly. "Do not cry, Amaka. You are not by myself anymore. To any extent further, you may stay with me. You'll have an area in my house. I will deal with you and the whole lot else." For the primary time in days, she managed a weak smile. From that day, Amaka have become a quiet presence in Kofi's mansion. She cooked easy food, cleaned while she should, and attempted to make herself useful. For Kofi, her presence changed into comforting. For her, it became survival. But no longer absolutely everyone welcomed her. One afternoon, as Amaka folded clothes inside the laundry room, a pointy voice reduced via the silence. "Oh, so that you're the laundry female." Nia's heels clicked in opposition to the marble ground. She folded her hands, smirking. "Because you're already right here, you may wash all the clothes. You will scrub the flooring. You'll serve me just like the maid you're." Amaka froze. Her palms trembled. She swallowed her tears and nodded. Each day, Nia mocked her. She ordered her around, laughed at her C5ED7369A5A50 day 1020765447D1405A clothes, and made sure Amaka never forgot her area. At night, Amaka might cry quietly into her pillow. cautious no longer to let Kofi listen. Weeks later, Amaka felt something strange. Weak spot. Nausea. A body that failed to experience like her very own. She bought a small test with the little money she had left and hid away in her room. The end result. Fantastic. Amaka sat on the ground, her hands shaking, tears streaming down her face. "I'm pregnant," she whispered. Her world spun. Kofi became at the verge of marrying Nia. The circle of relatives had already organized the whole lot, and now she changed into carrying his baby. She clutched her belly, worry flooding her chest. "In the event that they tired, Nia will kill me. Kofi's parents will throw me tired. I cannot let everybody recognize." So she decided that could alternate everything. She would conceal the pregnancy. However, Amaka had no idea what become coming next. She idea hiding the being pregnant could keep her secure. But Nia had a plan. An evil plan. That morning, Nia stormed into the kitchen, geared up to throw her typical insults. However, rather, her eyes stuck something at the counter. A small paper folded at the brink of the sink. She picked it up carelessly and froze. Her smirks slowly unfold as she warned out what it become. A being pregnant test? Amaka's pregnancy, take a look at. "Pregnant," Nia whispered, her eyes darkening. "So that is your little mystery." Her thoughts raced. No, she can't preserve this child. If Kofi ever finds worn out, it's going to break the whole thing. I ought to act, and I must act now. Evil plans activated. Meanwhile, the marriage preparations were already underway. The grandest hall inside the metropolis became being decorated with gold drapes and crystal chandeliers. Kofi, Nia, and his mother and father toured the venue. However, instead of joy, Kofi felt most effective exhaustion. "I do not want the standard white robe," Nia declared proudly, attempting on but some other get-dressed. "I need a gown with diamonds, real diamonds," Kofi sighed, pinching the bridge of his nostril. "However, this one is already best. It is now not steeply priced enough," she snapped. "And do not lessen the menu both. I don't care if we have best 100 visitors. I need meals for 500. I want it to be the most expensive wedding this city has ever seen." Her dad and mom laughed softly. "Oh, it really is simply our Nia. She merits the excellent." Kofi nodded slowly. However, inside something shifted. He changed into starting to see just how spoiled she in reality turned into. Lower back on the mansion, Nia cornered him one evening with a merciless call for, "That lady Amaka. She need to leave this residence. I do not care if she sleeps in the smallest room. I don't need her right here anymore." Kofi tried to purpose with her. "However, Nia, you do not apprehend. Amaka is not only a maid. Whilst I was stranded, she turned into the one who helped me. No one else. Without her, I would have lost the whole thing. She's been assisting across the house doing what you do not do. How can I just throw her tired?" However, Nia only smiled coldly due to the fact in her mind. She already knew the truth. She already knew worn-out, tired Amaka's pregnancy, and he or she already knew how she could use it to damage her.